Welcome back to the blog. I'm Samantha and I'm currently sitting on the floor of my home office surrounded by various bags and suitcases. And that is because today I'm going to be sharing all my favorite ways to pack for a trip. I've produced a lot of travel content here on the blog, but most recently I've been producing content talking about my pre-trip process. I've produced videos and written posts talking about how I like to plan for a trip, how I like to pick destinations and structure an itinerary, how I like to budget for a trip, how I like to make sure I have enough money saved up, and how I like to allocate that money. And today I'm going to be producing something all about how I like to pack for a trip. If you haven't seen those first two videos or read those first two posts about how I like to plan and budget for a trip, please make sure to go check those out. I am going to be using a little bit of information from those posts for this video and this post. So again, make sure to check those out. We planned and budgeted for a 2-week summer trip to Utah, and today we're going to be packing for that trip. But first things first, we need to pick a bag. So I'm sitting here on the floor so I can show you the 3 main pieces of luggage that I travel with most often. We're going to start with my main squeeze right over here, my carry-on suitcase. This is probably the piece of luggage that I travel with the most. I don't just bring this along with me when I'm experiencing air travel. I also bring it along with me when I'm going on some car travel trips, as I've done over the last couple of years traveling around the United States. I don't remember really what brand this suitcase is, but right here on the front it says Reaction. I'm assuming that's probably the brand of the suitcase. I love that it's carry-on size. I also love that it's a hard shell. It's also one of those spinner suitcases, which I feel like is pretty common for many suitcases nowadays. I absolutely love it and would recommend it for anyone that just needs a really good, reliable suitcase. Now we're going to move on to the backpack section. I'm going to start with this big backpack right here. This is the Eagle Creek Tour Travel Pack, 55 liters. So it's pretty big. I don't know exactly what the comparison is between this backpack and this suitcase, but for the most part, I feel like they hold about the same amount of stuff. But of course, this is a backpack, so you can't just roll it around. It doesn't have any wheels. You have to carry it on your back. But it's built pretty well. I mean, there are a lot of straps and buckles to make sure it's secure on your back when you're carrying it, especially when it's full of stuff and it gets pretty heavy, so that's really nice. And just overall, I think the backpack itself is very durable. So this is the kind of bag that I like to have with me when I'm going on a lot more outdoor adventures. And then my last backpack, my last bag is this day pack right over here, this kind of dark blue one. Like I just mentioned, it is just a day pack, so it's much smaller than both of these bigger bags here. So I never use it for my main bag when I'm traveling unless I'm just going somewhere for the weekend. It's not quite big enough for a longer term trip. So we're not really going to be using that bag to carry our essentials for our summer trip, but I am going to bring it along with me like I almost always do, to carry things that I want easy access to. I also carry kind of like a fanny pack with me, and that functions as my purse whenever I'm traveling. It's kind of hard to have like handheld purses or clutches or even just decorative purses. I am outside a lot. I like outdoor activities. I like to go hiking, things like that. And you don't really want to bring a purse along with you, but it's nice to have something for things like your keys, your phone, your wallet, so I carry a fanny pack around with me as well. Not pictured here, but I just wanted to put that information out there that I always have my fanny pack, and I almost always have this little day pack whenever I'm traveling, which means that for our summer trip, we're really deciding between our suitcase and our backpack. Personally, I think on a trip like this, where we're going to be experiencing both city life and outdoors life, I typically would bring just my suitcase. For me personally, it's just a little bit more convenient, even though we'll probably do some camping or rugged outdoors activities. We'll still have our car with us, and for the most part, there will always be a convenient place for us to open our suitcase and dig through it. It would also be nicer to have a suitcase when we're moving from place to place. I think personally a suitcase is just always easier to drag or roll alongside me than having to carry a lot of weight on my back. But just because for a trip like this I would choose my suitcase doesn't mean that you have to. Of course, consider all of the bags that you have at your disposal and pick the one that's most right for you and your trip and you and your travel style and comfort level. And even though on a trip like this I would bring my suitcase, I'm still going to show you inside all of these bags just to give you a look at how I would pack them if I were bringing them on a trip. So let's open up these bags and show you what's inside. So this may be a little funky, but I'm actually gonna start with my fanny pack that I mentioned I always have with me when I'm traveling and even just in everyday life. This fanny pack functions as my purse. I keep all of my valuables, must have with me at all times items in this fanny pack. That includes things like my phone, my wallet, and my keys. When you open up this main pocket, it's pretty much just one whole big fanny pack. There's not any separate pockets or zips inside of this main one, so I kind of just stuff everything in there. It does keep it a little bit hard to structure and keep things separate because it is just one big fanny pack. So I do have like little pockets like wallets, coin purses, things like that that I occasionally have in there to keep stuff separate. In this front pocket, I keep like Band-Aids, sometimes coins in there if I'm paying for something in cash and get change. Nothing crazy, just smaller items in here. But yeah, this is my fanny pack. Since we started with my fanny pack, I figured we could move our way up. So the next biggest bag that I usually have with me when I'm traveling is this Osprey day pack. Like I said in my little intro, this is just a day pack. I don't quite remember how much it holds. It's fairly spacious for being just a day pack, but it is small enough to still be considered like a personal item if you're flying. It does fit under that seat, which is really nice. So this is the bag, and as you can see, it's got 1 and 2 water bottle holders. It's got this like mesh front little pocket where you can keep snacks and things. I'm not going to show you what's inside because I do think that there are like some old snacks and things in there. Embarrassing. Don't want to show you that, but that's typically what I like to keep in this. Before I open the pockets, I'm going to show you that it has these little buckles here to keep all of your stuff kind of secured and compressed if maybe the backpack is filled a little bit too much, or you just want to make sure that everything holds well together. The back also has this nice mesh and then some pretty durable and padded straps here. And then there's also a chest strap with a little whistle. Very good for outdoor adventures. And then I think there's also a hip strap down here. This one.
goes around your hips. They're pretty thin straps, but again, really nice to have for simple hikes. Now I'm going to show you inside the backpack, but I have to put the camera down because it's a little hard to open backpacks when you only have one hand. Okay, I'm going to start back here. This is the backmost pocket, and it actually goes all the way down zip-wise. So this whole thing can like open out kind of like how a suitcase does. I have like a folder in here because sometimes if I'm going to work at a coffee shop or just going outside of my home office, even in my everyday life, I like to bring this backpack along with me because I can put all my work stuff back here, like my laptop. It's got a nice little laptop sleeve. And then this pocket I like to use for cords and things, chargers and what have you. And then if I have like folders or notebooks and I can fit them in this area between the pocket and the laptop sleeve, that's usually what I do with this area. Moving forward, you've got the main area of the backpack. There's another little sleeve right here where you can stick some things, and this area is pretty spacious. I mean, you could fit a lot of stuff in there. If I'm traveling, usually I like to have a spare pack of clothes. Even if I'm not flying and I don't have any items checked in, I'm not really sure if I'm going to have easy access to my suitcase. So I always like to have a spare pair of clothes in my backpack that I almost always have with me, almost always is my personal item, just in case I want to change or I have a spill, I have easy access to those clothes that I keep in here. I also will sometimes keep my toiletry items in here if I don't have space for them in my bigger bag or suitcase. I will keep any medications that I need in here, sometimes extra hand lotion. I'm trying to think of what else. Just stuff that I don't always need, but is nice to have on hand. Moving forward again, before we get to the very front pocket, there's this like top pocket up here. And this pocket is actually pretty deep. As you can see, I have some things in here. I guess you could say that this top pocket is kind of a hodgepodge pocket. You can put whatever in here. There is one last pocket between that little mesh area for snacks and this top pocket here. This area has some smaller pockets here where you can fit some things, and then again it's pretty deep. You can keep a lot of stuff in that pocket as well. So it is a very spacious bag. For me personally, that's usually where I keep like electronics, not my laptop or anything, but like my camera. If I'm wanting to take pictures or video like this, I'll usually keep that in the front pocket or in the middle pocket if it doesn't fit, just so I have it all here in my personal item for easy access. Continuing on with our backpack theme, I'm next going to show you my Eagle Creek Tour Travel Pack. This again is a 55-liter backpack, so it's definitely big enough like a suitcase where you can put your main items in there. But I think it is still small enough to be considered a carry-on if you're flying, and thus also small enough that it's pretty easy to handle. But this is the bag, and I'm going to show you around the bag so you can kind of see how well built it is. You've got a nice little pocket here and also one on the other side. It's pretty minimal in pockets, but it's all very compressed and pulled tightly into the bag. This whole section, again, super well built, a nice hard back, well built straps, and you've also got that chest strap here and these pretty sturdy hip straps. So you can tell this is the kind of backpack that you can use for like backpacking or a really good outdoor adventure. I don't know if you can tell that there's something under here. I don't want to pull it out because it's kind of hard to get in and out of this little area. And I'm not even sure this is really where it goes or if this is a real pocket, but this backpack actually comes with its very own rain fly. And it's branded and all of that, so people can still tell that you have an Eagle Creek bag, but it kind of pulls out from this bottom pocket under the backpack and around the front, and then you can pull it nice and snug up here at the top of the bag. So that's really nice for if it rains, and again, especially if you're using this as an outdoor bag. Really, really good for that. And then you've got this side. You can tell that I have the small medium size of the bag, so even though it's 55 liters, I think the large size of the bag is just a little bit bigger to accommodate maybe a taller person that's using it. I have a pretty small frame, so I got the small medium. So you can see that right here on this nice handle that you can actually use to carry the bag like this if you didn't want to carry it like a backpack. Before I show you the inside of the bag, I'm going to talk about this little zipper right here. You can zip it down like this to compress the bag. Again, a very nice feature. And of course, you can zip it open to expand the bag if you have a couple more items than you thought you might. Oh, there it goes. Back to the front of the bag. Now I'm going to show you inside. The way this bag opens is quite easily my favorite feature of the bag, because it opens like a suitcase. How cool is that? It has all of the conveniences of a suitcase, being able to open it nice and big and wide so you can make sure you're fitting all your stuff the way you want to in there. But it also has all the conveniences of a backpack, the ease of just carrying it on your back. I love that about this bag. I will say one of my lesser favorite parts of this bag is the fact that it is still a backpack. So the fact that it opens up like this is nice, but the lack of structure when you open it up, the fact that the sides are kind of flimsy and there are no set divisions inside the main area of the bag aren't as great. It does still have a couple of pockets, albeit minimal, ones that you would see in a normal suitcase, like this little mesh area, which I typically like to use to hold any extra laundry items. It's just nice to keep that stuff separated from the main section of the bag. These are the things that I put in here to kind of bulk it up a little bit. This is a packing cube with not clothes inside, but books. Typically you would put clothes inside, and I would highly recommend having a packing cube like this one for your clothes when you're packing this bag specifically. Like I said, the lack of structure in this main area of the backpack makes it hard to keep set clothes together. So having packing cubes is really good for that purpose. And then this is just another toiletries bag that I have among many. It does have these nice little buckles on the inside of the bag. They're actually also on the outside of the bag like this, like my day pack, to make sure that you can close it up real nice and keep everything together just like the day pack. Also behind here, I'll lift this packing cube a little, there's this pocket, and this pocket is for your laptop. So again, that's really nice if you're traveling with this backpack and you're more of a traveler, or for some reason you want to bring your laptop along with you on an outdoor adventure. It can keep it nice and secure in this bag. Lastly, we have this pocket right here. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. That's the zipper. It's a little hard to open when the backpack is opened like this, like a suitcase. But let me show you how you would use that pocket opening the backpack in a different way. So if we look at the backpack from the top, you can see this little zipper right here opens up this little pocket. So the backpack actually opens up like a backpack and like a suitcase. So that's really, really convenient. So if you just wanted to stick some stuff towards the top of the bag for easy access, you can always fill the bag like a normal backpack. It's also nice for this pocket that we have up here. This is gonna be difficult to open with this camera. I'm just gonna pretend like it's already open. It's pretty spacious. And again, easy to keep some items that you want easy access to, nice and contained at the top of the bag. You know what they say, you save the best for last. My Reaction carry-on suitcase. It's a fun, nice and bright pink color, so nothing too crazy, but definitely recognizable if I were to check it in. It spins like every modern day suitcase, so easy to carry along with you. And like my backpack, it's got that little handle here so you can carry it if you so choose, if you don't want to roll it along with you. Also, like the backpack, it's got that same expandable zip, so it does expand a little bit if you want some extra room whenever you're packing the bag. Let me show you inside because there's not much to the outside. The meat of this suitcase is going to be inside. And this is the inside of the suitcase. And because I can never fully unpack, I've still got some things in here from my last trip. Ignore those. This is the inside of the suitcase, and it pretty much looks like how most suitcases look like. It's got that same mesh pocket that the backpack had. Again, this is like where I would keep any laundry items, dirty clothes, just to keep them separate from all my clean clothes. And then if I unbuckle this, I've got this big main pocket where I can keep my main items. And because this is kind of just a flap over, I like to keep bulkier items in this area. I talked about using packing cubes with my backpack to keep everything nice and structured, but I'm normally a packing cube user anyway. I'm just very organized, and even in a suitcase where stuff won't get too turned around because the shell is a lot more structured than a backpack, I still like to use packing cubes. So I may use some in this main area, or I may use this area to pack any kind of jackets or bulkier sweaters. I know our trip that we were talking about is in the summer, so I wouldn't have many sweaters or bulkier items like that, but I may have like jeans, which are a little bulkier than athletic shorts or leggings. So stuff like that I would keep in this area. I would also keep any bigger toiletry items in this area as well. I talked about maybe keeping some in my day pack, but usually if I can fit them in my suitcase and there's room in my suitcase, I'd rather have them in there and save my day pack for those electronic items, a spare set of clothes, and like work items, things like that. This is also the area that I would keep shoes in. I don't like to travel with too many pairs of shoes, but on a longer trip like this, I want to have something easy to walk in, something cute for when we're in the city portion of our Utah trip. And then of course, something that I can really walk in, get dirty, maybe hiking specific shoes for the outdoor adventure portion of our trip. So all of those bulkier items, like I said, are going to be in this area because even if it is a little too full, I can just throw the flap over, buckle it up here, and it would still all fit in this area. Versus this area where it really has to be zipped, and you can see I kind of tore it the last time I used it by trying to make this area more bulky. So you really want to utilize this space where it's a little bit less structured, but you can still keep everything covered. You can fit more stuff over here versus trying to fit it over here in this area. Now I'm gonna unzip this and show you inside. Again, not as roomy, but definitely more structured. So if you didn't have enough packing cubes, you could use this area. And this is just where I like to keep just everyday clothes, lighter t-shirts, thinner shorts, maybe some athletic gear, obviously like intimates, underwear, socks, things like that. I like to keep them in this area. Then you've got this little pocket, mesh pocket for some things. I think I have a bathing suit in one of these pockets. This is where I typically keep things like socks, washcloths, stuff like that. So that's the inside of this suitcase. This suitcase that we're bringing along with us on our Utah trip.
And those are all my tips and tricks for packing for a trip. I hope you guys enjoyed and got a lot of good information from hearing me talk about all of the different bags that I bring along with me when I'm traveling. Again, there are 2 other videos and posts in this little pre-trip process series. So make sure to go check those out if you haven't already. I'm going to try and link them down below in the actual blog post. I'm also going to try and summarize a little bit of everything that I talked about in this video. If you liked this video, the series, and the rest of my travel content, please make sure to subscribe to the blog. And if you want to see some quick snips, fun posts of my travel content in real time, you can also follow me on social media. Links for subscribing and following me on social media will also be down below in the actual blog post. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, the series, all of my travel content. Next week, I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break from the travel content, so if you're looking for something fresh, make sure to tune in then. I'll see you guys next week. Bye!